Welcome back, everybody. This is vlog number 9. We're going to continue working on the Lexus. We've had the major gouges and scratches just taken care of. So we're now going to hop back onto the surface of the car and work on swirls and try to really refine and bring out the clarity on this clear coat. So today we're going to use the Rotary, and we're going to continue using the Griots Garage Fast Correcting Cream from the Boss system. Okay, so how I get a product to the panel using the Rotary is I put a nice thin layer of film on the section I'm working on, and I'll season the pad. What I'm using today is a honey combination hybrid pad. It's a short nap wool pad for cutting. So I'll season the pad and I'll get to work, no sling whatsoever. I'm not going to put a bead down on the panel and pick it up and be all artistic and showy about it. I just want to get to work with no splatter whatsoever. I don't have time to clean up a mess. And that's what would happen with my luck. I would have it all over the place anyways. So we're going to have nice, slow arm movements. I have it on low speed. When I use the Rotary, it's usually on low 2 or 3, depending on what speed dial you have on yours. And it's going to be nice, slow arm movements, very light pressure. We're going to keep the temperature down on this panel. And we're going to remove those swirl marks using the Griots Garage Fast Correcting Cream. You can use the regular hook and loop 7-inch wool pad. You could use a foam pad, whatever size. You could use whatever backing plate that you like. As long as you're using the Rotary, it'll put a smile on my face. The Rotary used to be a tool that I used exclusively, and then here within the last couple years, I really have started to enjoy some of the DAs that have been coming out. So I'll use the Rotary to cut when I'm doing a correction by myself, and then I'll use the DA to finish and polish. Okay, so let me remove the residue and get rid of the masking tape. And I'll bring you in and show you that this method cuts just as good, sometimes quicker than using a long throw DA polisher and an aggressive pad for it. And here, as you can see, the swirling's gone, the spider webbing, whatever you want to call it's gone. Now there is something left on the hood. We're going to talk about that in a bit. So we're going to move on. I'm going to try and finish this hood. But we have a bit of solvent popping. The hood may have been repainted recently. We're going to talk about that in a bit, but first let's finish up this hood. So again, the pad has already been seasoned. I lay a nice thin layer of the compound, spread it out over the panel with a microfiber application pad, and then I'll work it in with the Rotary from there. I have no splatter whatsoever with that method. So I do have some dedicated videos on the Rotary, quite a bit, and you'd have to go pretty far back to get them. But I'm not going to go into great detail as to how to use the Rotary. You can revert back to those. I do hear a lot that the Rotary is dead, but you really have to take the time to master the tool before you can make a statement such as that. I really don't believe the Rotary is dead. It's a great cutting tool, and then you can go to a DA for polishing and finishing up if you please. So here we have the hood. It's finished. The swirl marks and the spider webbing, the staining, the overall dullness, oxidation's gone. So what we have left is something that is known as solvent popping. And I'm going to go into that in just a minute here. But they're so tiny and minuscule in this case, I'm trying to use the light to give you the best view of that. And hopefully using the light here, if I go back and forth, you'll notice them. Okay, so for some of you guys, some of the new guys who may run into this, and you probably will, it's a common problem. Bear with me. I'm going to take a few minutes and explain this the best I can. First of all, let me get this over with. To get paint from the spray can onto your car or onto the part, it needs to be transferred from a solvent. And once it gets there, the solvent has to evaporate from the paint. So there could be many reasons that solvent popping occurs. And number one, the layer that the painter laid down was too thick. It was laid down at too high of a temperature. For some reason, it could have been laid down in direct sunlight. The airflow from some of these booths may have been too strong. The wrong reducer may have been chosen. Something may have been wrong with the spray gun itself. Could have been a combination of all of those. Let me give you a couple examples here. If a layer was too thick, laid down way too thick, the paint has to crosshatch, and that has to happen after the solvents had a chance to escape the molecules of solvents. And sometimes, if the layer is too thick, a skin will form where they crosshatch on top of the thick layer. The solvents have nowhere to go. So they're stuck in there, and if the temperature gets too high, the molecules will burst because on a molecular level, molecules have moisture inside. And if it's heated to too high of a temperature, those molecules will pop like popcorn, hence the name, solvent popping. And that's where you will get these hideous marks, and it could look like pinholes, like somebody took a pin. If you're looking at the top of a hood like we are here, and just did that all over your hood, it could be in clusters, very big bubbles that have popped. And it could be sizes in between there. So that pretty much explains the solvent popping. Now, what can you do with it? Well, that layer of paint has to be removed and replaced. There is no getting around it. And as a detailer, there's nothing you can do about it. You want to leave as much clear as you can to protect the paint layer underneath. So don't go trying to shave it off, sand it, wet sand it, or compounding it. Just do the best you can to remove swirls, other imperfections. As for the solvent popping, nothing we can do about it. I hope that helps, guys. Let's get on with the video. Okay, so the hood is completely done. Now we can move on to the fenders and then work our way back to the rear of the car. For the fender and the side of the car, all the way back towards the rear, we don't have the solvent popping problem like we do on the top of the car. We just have to remove the swirls, and if we find any deeper scratches beneath that layer, we'll work on them individually. Once again, the compound is applied for the rotary using an application pad, greatly reducing, and there really is no splatter whatsoever when you do it this way. And before I forget, I do get a lot of questions on paint depth gauges and ways to figure out how deep scratches are, little tips and tricks. I'm trying to find the best way to put those videos together for you because I don't want you relying on those two things. I want you to rely on your skill set and your experience first, and then those things can help you later on, because unless you have a really expensive, elaborate paint depth gauge, it's only going to tell you the whole system: primer, base coat, clear coat together. Unless you have an elaborate, expensive one that doesn't break down each layer individually. When a car comes in, you'll measure either under the hood or in the door jamb, and then go around the car from there, because the door jambs and under the hood doesn't have a ton of clear, if any of at all. And you're going to go around the car to measure and see if it's been worked on, see if panels have different depths. And as you can see here, I'm showing you we have the whole clip done now, and we could start working our way to the back of the car. But to get back to what I was saying, even with a gauge depth meter, I have the Defelsco Positector 6000. I still have to rely on my skill set and experience to not go through the clear, because it doesn't tell me exactly how much clear I have. All right, so here we're working on B-pillars, and we're going to get into this subject here because you can run into different materials for this, and some of you guys just starting out, these can be polished. You can remove scratches and swirl marks from these areas: A-pillars, B-pillars, C, and even D. And what they are, sometimes composite plastic with a clear coat layer, And what's replacing them nowadays is a resin plastic that is clear, that has been injected with dark or black pigments, and then no paint is needed. They also can be polished. They have to be done with more care, but it can be done. This one here is clear over plastic, so I'm just going to go ahead and use the fast correcting cream and remove the scratches with very, very light pressure. And as you will see at the end, some of that black has transferred onto the pad. You have to be careful with these. As you can see here, with a couple passes, very light pressure, there's a huge difference. And you will see right here, it has been chipped. It's very thin material, so you have to be careful with it. But to get back to the paint depth gauges, they are very expensive, pricey. Don't feel the need. You have to run out and grab one to start detailing. Work on your skill set first. Work on getting used to clear coat, cutting it either by compound or wet sanding, and then you can get one later to help you out when you start having a ton of cars coming in. Two ways the gauges have really helped me. And that's when a car comes in that's been worked on previously, either by another detailer or went through a body shop. You're going to get crazy readings from panel to panel, thick to thin to thick to thin. In other ways, on exotic or supercars or vintage cars, where different panels have different paint hardnesses and different depths of paint on each panel. They really are a beast of their own, and that's where the gauges come in handy in those situations as well. So I'm going to take off the tape before I wipe off the residue so I don't get the adhesive on my nice plush 500 GSM edgeless towel, and we're done with the pillars. And unfortunately, we are also done with the episode here, this vlog, and I wanted to show you the pad that was transfer from those pillars. Brian from Apex Detail, if you have any questions from what we did today, don't hesitate. I'll see you in the next video.